evening. Welcome to Tweed Up, where we take video games, music, movies, and more way too seriously. And today, we are talking about my top 10 albums of 2022.
Woo!
It is almost the end of 2022. We have what is tomorrow's the 30th?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're almost done. So just didn't want any, albums to come out post-Christmas and really surprise me and get on the list. But
right now, as a
yeah, right. Hey man, there's stuff dropping every day. But this is my top 10 pop rock albums of the year. So I don't have any hip hop on here. I don't have any extreme metal on here. I do have a couple bands that might be considered metal, but can definitely fit into sort of pop rock category as well. I may do different videos for, rap and for metal, but just a couple, Kendrick Lamar would be on there. Let's see, Ashen Fire would be on my metal list. There's some other shout outs that are not on my top 10 I want to make. The Afghan Wigs new album, I really, really like it a lot. It is not on my top 10.
We saw it in concert.
Yeah, do you have any records that came out this year that you really, really like?
None that are on your list.
Yeah, I know. All right. All right, we'll start out number 10. It's already here. Arcade Fire's the sixth album from Montreal-based The Arcade Fire, released May 26th of this year on Columbia Records, produced by Nigel Godrich of Radiohead fame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you like Arcade Fire?
I do like Arcade Fire,
right?
but I just learned something new. I thought they were from France, but I guess Montreal, close enough.
Yeah, close enough,
Yeah.
right? Same thing,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, I like Arcade Fire. I own the album that Wake Up is on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I haven't listened to a CD in a long time.
So their new album came out this year. It's called We. It's sort of a concept album, whereas the first half, like the first side, if you get it on vinyl, is called I, like EYE, but also I, individual. And the second half is like the we side. So the first half is very like thematically based on, kind of isolation, individualism, separation,
Topical.
anxiety, yeah. And then the we side is more about family relationship and just a more communal, a desire to have a more communal existence, So I really like it a lot. I think the production is great. Like some of the songs, for example, like Rabbit Hole, with the second track on it, sounds like the Reflector era Arcade Fire to me, whereas something like The Lightning sounds much more like something off of Funeral or even Neon Bible. So you get, if you've been a fan of the band for a long time, I think this album has some of the, stuff that you have liked over on those albums over time. I can't say I don't love every song on this album. There's some songs that sound fantastic. For example, the End of the Empire. It's a bit kind of a center point, a big part of this album, and it sounds great. Like there's a lot of acoustic guitars backed up by strings, lots of piano. Sounds amazing. Wynn Butler's vocals are amazing, but the writing is just a little too on the nose, too like the end of the American Empire. It's a little bit too on the nose. But by the end of it, shout out the song Race and Religion has a feature with Peter Gabriel on it, and yeah, I love Peter Gabriel, and that's a really, really awesome song. Some really really good lyrics about living a more kind of communal life where we base our happiness on the people around us and not on our own needs and desires and introspection.
But wait, that sounds counter to the meaning of life, which is accumulating
exactly,
wealth.
Right.
And, yeah.
So exactly. So I mean, some of Arcade Fire's songwriting is a little too on the nose, but I have to I want to go along with it, you know, because I in some ways I love that earnestness, you know.
And you love the American Empire.
Right. All right, so that was my number 10.
Number 10.
Number
I feel
9.
like I should have a sign, sold or not quite sold. You know?
Number 9, Spoon.
Spoon!
So this is album number 10 from the Austin, Texas band Spoon, released February 11th on Matador Records, produced by a bunch of different producers, but including Dave Friedman from made a lot of Flaming Lips albums. Sounds really awesome. What's your, you know, Spoon at all?
No,
You don't know
really,
Spoon
no.
at all? So let's see. How should I sell Spoon to you? They're an indie rock band.
Okay.
Really,
so far.
really strong rhythm section. Drummer's great. Bass player is great. The guitar playing is very, well, traditionally on most Spoon records, very angular, very kind of staccato, and kind of almost has like a post-punk kind of vibe to it. Although this album, they really kind of go into a lot of more traditional, you know, this almost goes into like Black Keys kind of straight up rock territory on some of the tracks. Do you like the Black Keys?
I'm alright with it.
Yeah, I'm not
I like
a
their
huge
music.
Black Keys fan either, but I love Spoon. I've seen Spoon before. They're a great live band, and what's really cool about this album is that when you first put it on, you're like, oh yeah, I could see them playing this live. You know, I feel like they made a distinct choice to make all these songs really live ready, whereas the past two Spoon records have had a little more effects and electronics and stuff.
Very produced.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward rock. The song on it, My Babe, is the big single. It's a co-write by Jack Antonoff, who, you know, who Jack Antonoff is. Producer of a lot of Taylor Swift records.
Oh!
He's also the singer and like songwriter for the band Bleachers. You ever heard Bleachers?
No.
But you know, this is probably as like sort of mainstream pop. There's a song called Wild on it that they've gotten, and the first couple listens, I wasn't feeling it, you know. But it's really, really grown on me, and it's now one of my like favorite songs on the record. It has a very like almost like The Edge from U2 kind of like guitar. It's a very and it has a good groove. Yeah. So there's some great songs on this. Some really good guitar playing on it as always, and you know, if you like Spoon, I think this is their best album in at least the last 3 albums. So,
and it has a song named Satellite. What's your favorite song named Satellite, or with the name Satellite in it? Word Satellite in it?
Are you referencing the Dave Matthews Band? Yeah.
Sure was.
This is a Dave Matthews Band right here.
I have no taste in music. Everything that I listen to.
I didn't even know that he was a Dave Matthews Band fan.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That was an ambush.
I
would have
apologize.
accepted, even though it's an album, you could have said transmissions from the satellite.
There you go.
It involves the word satellite.
All right. Number 8. Placebo.
Woo!
Never Let Me Go. Great album. It's the 8th album from this London band, released on March 25th on Rise Records, produced by the band and Adam Noble. Huge fan of Placebo, been a fan for a long time. You know, I think all of their records are worth listening to. One of my favorite vocalists in the sort of like indie rock arena. And this is definitely, I think, their best album since probably Meds. If you're a fan of Placebo, that's going back quite a while. Not that any of their albums are really bad, but there's just a really strong collection of songs on this. You're familiar with Placebo.
I am.
Yeah.
And if I could tell a story real quick.
Go for it.
So I had watched MTV and saw this new band Placebo, and I was really excited to go tell my friend Neil about what I thought of them, and especially what a crush I had on this beautiful lead singer. And you know, while you did provide me with some information that I found somewhat jarring upon delivering that news to you, I stand by it.
Yeah.
Guy is he, she. I don't.
His
remember
name's
his
Brian.
name.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Beautiful individual.
Yeah, I mean, they
Beautiful.
especially early on in their career, they kind of did a lot of gender bending. They obviously like David Bowie a lot.
Really?
Yeah. But no, if you like Placebo at all, there's some really good tracks. So there's some heavy tracks. Like if you like old Placebo, the songs Twin Demons, Chemtrails, and those two songs right on there, they're right with anything off of like Without You I'm Nothing, or even the first album. I really like the single Beautiful James. It's so pretty, so poppy. I know a lot of fans won't like it, but if you're not a fan and you just like pretty pop music with a interesting vocal and good songwriting, Beautiful James off this is a really good single, one of my favorite singles of the year. The Prodigal has a lot of strings. It's very it sounds like a lot of other stuff, but it doesn't sound like Placebo. But because of his very distinct vocal style, he kind of makes it his own. It's really good. Bad White Wrecking, hilarious title, awesome song. So yeah, Surrounded by Spies is very much like if you like Pure Morning, which is the video for the song that he's talking about. If you like that song, Surrounded by Spies has that same sort of like alienated, almost conspiracy theory type, vibe to it. Really good. Excellent album.
What time of day do you listen to this record, Neil? Is it a morning record, an afternoon record?
I'd say it's an afternoon record, like doing the dishes.
Yeah, getting stuff done?
Yeah.
All right, I have to tell you, while I am very intrigued by the Arcade Fire, most sold on the Placebo record.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
3
Good
records
stuff.
in. That was number 8?
That's number 8.
Number 8?
All right, number 10. Taylor Swift. Oh, wait, not number 10. And after 8 comes number 7. Taylor Swift.
7.
Yep.
Ricky.
Have you ever heard of Taylor Swift before?
Wasn't she John Mayer's girlfriend?
So this is the 10th album from...
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. Nashville via Pennsylvania. Singer-songwriter Taylor Swift, released October 21st, so relatively recent, on Republic Records, produced by Taylor Swift, Jack Antonoff, Soundwise, Keanu Beat, so a bunch of producers all over this thing. But I like this album a lot. I know a lot of people are not putting this on their top 10 list of the year, but to me, Taylor Swift was in a really odd situation after putting out Folklore and Evermore, which are more singer-songwritery, almost. They're not folky.
Girl with a Guitar?
Yeah, like that kind of thing. That she did with Aaron Dessner from The National, and they have a very, I would say, less kind of like pop tinge to them than most of her other work, and they're awesome. I love all of the songs on both of those albums.
Every
very
song
good.
on...
No, not this.
Okay, not on
I'm talking about those albums. And so after that, she has to come out with something, that appeals to fans, to her fan base, So it has to appeal to fans of 1989 and, people who love her and Reputation. And I think all of those albums have good songs on it. And, I think they do a pretty good job on this record of appealing to both of those crowds, appealing to old guys who kind of got into her and accepted her as a good a talented songwriter because of Folklore and Evermore. I mean, I like 1989 a lot, but I really like Folklore and Evermore. And this does a good job of taking, I think, the strengths of her songwriting in those and putting them in a more pop-focused environment. Jack Antonoff's production on this, there's a lot of sparse arrangements where you'll just hear kind of like a bass tone and some, light synths over top of it, so he's not overloading the mix with a lot of stuff. Some people would say they're a little underproduced, but I like it. I think it fits the vibe on some of the songs. There's a lot of good tracks on here. If you like Folklore and Evermore. The song Mastermind is really good. Trying to think, where's the track list?
They're on the front. I noticed that.
Oh, they're right on the front. Yeah. Labyrinth is awesome. Maroon is really good. Snow on the Beach has a feature with Lana Del Rey. You know, and I like that song, but I would say Lana is not used that much. She's kind of in the background. She's not that high up in the mix.
That's a shame.
But that's a really good song. I did not like that song when I first heard it. I will say there's too much cussing on this album, but there is a clean version. But I mean,
are we talking S-bombs? F-bombs?
F-bombs.
Taylor Swift?
Yeah, for sure. You don't believe it?
I mean,
it's for real.
How old is Taylor Swift now?
I don't. She's allowed to. She's allowed to.
I'm genuinely wondering because I was thinking about this.
I don't know. She's got to be getting close to 30. Like I think she's like 28 or something like that.
So I was talking to one of my wife's coworkers about the existence of this record, and she said, you know, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I have been. You know, she spoke of her like she belongs to her generation. I grew up with Taylor Swift. This girl's 19 years old, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, who does Taylor Swift belong to? Like, who owns Taylor Swift? Nobody owns Taylor Swift. But who claims Taylor Swift?
I think a lot of people do now, you know?
Yeah, is she a Zoomer? Like, what happened? Like, who?
She's been popular for a long time now, you know? Yeah.
Like, who owned David Bowie? Nobody owns it. I guess I'm asking a ridiculous question.
Well, no, I mean, that's why I think it's hard for her to put out an album that's going to make a lot of people's top 10 lists, because she does, I think, is trying to appeal to a pretty, you know, diverse fan base at this point. You know, it's not all Swifties at this point. You know, but I mean, even though like we're talking about the traditional pop stuff, I mean, I think "Anti-Hero" is one of the best straight pop songs of the year for sure. "Bejeweled" is really awesome as well. So, I mean, even if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, there's some good music on here. Look into it.
Antonov's involvement has that sitting in a solid third place of the records that you've talked about so far.
All right, number 6, Ghost. You know about Ghost?
I don't, but I'm excited about it.
All right, this is.
I have to show this album cover. This is some amazing stuff.
It is. They always have great cover art. This is Impera, the 5th album from Swedish band Ghost, released March 11th of this year on Loma Vista. Produced by Klaus Ahland. I really like Ghost a lot. If you are unfamiliar with Ghost, they take a lot of inspiration from earlier, like 1970s, 1980s, kind of pop rock. I hear a lot of stuff that sounds like White Lion or Bon Jovi, or even like older like Blue Oyster Cult. But it's also the imagery is very much more like metal, you know, and they are a metal band to a certain extent.
Yeah,
you know?
You're telling me that you didn't include any like real metal, and I see this.
I know.
Having not listened to it, like.
Well, listen to it.
False advertising there, guys. I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, they are metal, but they're closer.
It looks like I want to fight the Catholic Church.
Oh, so they definitely have lots of you know, religious iconography, but they're a great band. I mean, if you like White Lion, I think you would find a lot to like in this band. The vocals are good, the guitar work's amazing. There's so many fun guitar solos, and the guitar solos are all, you know, they're not like shredding, they're all very melodic. I mean, there is some shredding in there too, but really good songwriting. It has, this album, Impera, is sort of about Victorian London to a certain extent, and like the end of empires, the fall of them. I guess that's kind of a theme right
there.
There
you go.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's topical.
Yeah, but there's some great songs, you know. So the big first single, I guess, was for that Halloween movie, Halloween Kills, Hunter's Moon, which is an awesome song. It's it's one of those songs. The chorus is just basically him saying it's the hunter's moon, but then there's a guitar lick. It's like a guitar that's just a chorus that's just a guitar lick.
Huh.
But it's awesome, and it sounds like very, I don't know, it sounds to me like very 80s, almost like Bon Jovi kind of. I got a lot of Bon Jovi vibes from a lot of these songs. Spillways sounds Bon Jovi-ish to me. It also sounds Van Halen-ish, you know, like 1984 or for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge era Van Halen. So if you like that kind of stuff, I think you would like Ghost a lot. I will say that the songwriting on this, like lyrically, is way smarter than Bon Jovi or White Lion. But he's definitely taking, or definitely smarter songwriting than Van Halen.
I was gonna say, what about?
But I highly recommend it. Sounds great if you turn it up in your car. It's really loud. I do not love the drum sounds. It's like it's one of those albums that sounds like it's all a drum machine. I think that it's not, but the way it's recorded sounds fake. So I don't love the drum recording on this, but the guitars sound great. But Ghost, Impera, anything by Ghost if you don't know them, I like them a lot.
All right, hold up. What is your favorite Patrick Swayze movie? That's not named Ghost.
My favorite Patrick Swayze movie. I don't know. That's a hard.
Roadhouse.
I know, but
it's Roadhouse.
No,
that's mine.
It's Donnie Darko is my favorite.
Oh, that's not a Patrick Swayze movie. That's an excellent answer.
Thank you. All right, we're up to number 5.
Why do you wear that stupid human suit?
I know, right? Great. I haven't watched that movie in a long time. Big Thief.
Ooh.
You ever heard of Big Thief?
I've never even heard of Big Thief.
Never even heard of Big Thief. So this is
Is this the actual album cover, or is this something that Abby did?
No, that's the actual album cover.
Pretty interesting.
So this is it's called Dragon New Warm Mountain I Believe in You. That's an album title right there.
Heck yeah.
The 5th album by the band from Brooklyn, released February 11th on 4AD, produced by James Kravinchnia, who is the drummer for the band. Pretty cool. He has a really good concept for recording this album. They recorded it in, I believe, 4 different studios at different places around the country. Wanted to get like different vibes, and what this album and all of Big Thief's music really I think does well is it sounds like 4 people sitting in a room playing music together. It really has that kind of like intimate vibe. And this is a long album. Is it 20 tracks? I think something like 20 tracks. It's like an hour long or more maybe. But there's so many good songs. I would say they could have made this 2 albums instead of 1 because it's a little too long at some points. But Adrienne Lenker, the vocalist, really interesting sound. She reminds me of, let's see, sometimes she sounds like Dolly Parton or Loretta Lynn or something, but sometimes she sounds like Tori Amos to me sometimes, you know. So she has a really cool, really interesting vocal style. I like her a lot. I like her songwriting a lot. She has a good sense of humor. Listen to Spud Infinity. It's very funny, but also kind of like smart and emotionally charged. But there's a lot of variety in musical styles. There's a lot of kind of 70s singer-songwriter-y stuff, and there's also stuff that almost sounds like Billie Eilish, you know, with a kind of like kind of cool, like low-key production. But the drums are great on it. Lots of cool instrumentation on the title song, Dragon New Warm Mountain I Believe in You. They play icicles.
No.
They play icicles, and you can like listen to it. I heard that, and I was like, really? They're going to play icicles on it?
I know what an icicle sounds like.
And you listen to it, and you're like, oh, that must be where they're playing the icicles. Pretty rad.
That is a good selling point right there.
Great stuff. Anyone that likes music, I think, would enjoy that album. So that was number 5.
F-bombs or more F-bombs than
I don't believe there's any cussing on that album.
There you go. It's better for the kids. Dragon Warm Mountain.
Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You.
There it is.
Alright, this one I got on vinyl.
There it is.
Number 4.
Are we to 4 already?
We're to 4.
Wow.
Midnight Oil.
Now that's cool.
Yeah, Midnight Oil Resist. So this is the 13th album from this band from Sydney, Australia, released February 18th of this year on Sony Music Australia, produced by Warren Livesey. You've heard of this band?
I've heard of Midnight Oil. Thank you.
You know, Beds Are Burning? Yeah, this song. Okay, so they're an Australian band. They've been around forever. They're amazing. I've seen them live. If you never saw them live, they're saying that this tour that they did for this album was their very last tour. It's over, so you're probably never going to be able to see Midnight Oil or Peter Garrett live. But maybe they will, you know? Lots of people say that they're not going to tour again.
There's always more
and
money.
then they do. But this is, I think, Midnight Oil's best album since Earth and Sun and Moon, which was, and that album was probably 93 or 94 or something like that. And they put out albums between then, and, you know, some of them have been really good. All of them have had some good songs. This album is all good songs, and they're an environmental, band. They always have been. They always will be. They're passionate about it. Peter Garrett stopped making music to become a member of Australian Parliament, and then when he was done trying to save the world that way, he's back to making rock music and trying to save the world that way. But I mean, I am not the person that really loves kind of preachy environmental music or rock and roll. But these guys believe it. They sell it. I buy it. I love it. And I mean, if you just want to listen to an album that's guys who know how to play rock and roll, playing guitar, playing heavy drums, the drummer plays hard, and Peter Garrett is just a once in a lifetime talent. I like seeing them play live, and Peter Garrett like dancing across the stage. If you've never seen videos, look up YouTube videos of Midnight Oil and watch Peter Garrett dance, because it's amazing. He's like a giant, like 7 foot tall dude, and kind of I'm not gonna do it.
You want to do some more of that?
I know, but it's a great album. There's lots of really good songs. The Rising Sea is the first song. Is fantastic. We Are Not Afraid is fantastic. Lost at Sea is fantastic. Just good rock and roll. It's heartfelt. It's smart, and we don't get enough of this, and we probably won't get very much more.
Might be the last bit.
Yeah.
Which Australian musical act is going to take Midnight Oil's place?
That's a good question. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
There you go.
For real. Are you familiar?
No.
Yeah, they're awesome.
But I'm sold.
All right, we are at number 3. Have you ever heard of a band called Cloakroom?
No, I thought it was the other one. No.
Cloakroom, Dissolution Wave. So this is a band from from Northeast Indiana. I always say Chicago. This is their third album, released January 28th, 2022 on Relapse Records. And here, I wrote down how they have described this album. It's a concept album. It doesn't sound like a concept album when you listen to it, but if you read the lyrics, it's a concept album. But they describe it as a space western in which an act of theoretical physics, the dissolution wave, wipes out all of humanity's existing art and abstract thought. Doesn't that sound awesome?
Sounds like right up my alley.
Yeah.
It sounds almost vaguely familiar to, say, a Keywork or something like that.
Yeah. But this is nothing like that band, really. Are you familiar with the band Hum?
Hum?
Yeah.
You'd prefer an astronaut?
Yeah.
Yes.
So these guys are a Chicago, Hum is a Chicago band. They're a Chicago band. They are taking that, kind of alternative rock mixed with a lot of some metal elements, some shoegaze elements. A lot of press call them doom metal. I don't really see them as doomy too much. They do have some kind of like slower, heavy songs that are kind of like sludge metal, I guess. But metal has lots of different little like
I just learned about two new
subgenres.
kinds of metal that I never even heard of.
But to me, they are so. Unfortunately, the drummer from Hum passed away. We are not probably getting any more Hum records. Matt Talbot, singer, guitar player from Hum, is on this album on one track. But to me, I like this album because it is taking forward that sound. If you like super loud guitars that are played in super crunchy guitars played with like delicate melodies, if you like heavy drums but like kind of whispery, barely audible, like My Bloody Valentine kind of vocals, you will like this album. Turn it up super loud or use headphones. Or just listen or go. They have a video for a fourth-set play. So look up Cloakroom, a fourth-set play on YouTube. It's a really fun, really funny video, and it's a great song. There's some really nice guitar work in it, and it's not super heavy. There's less heavier music on this album, but that one I think would be palatable to anybody who likes, especially if you like Hum or just if you like alternative rock, I guess. I guess I'm showing my age, but
A force to play?
It was before they called it indie rock. They called it alternative rock.
8101.
Yeah. We are to number 2. Now, a band that you were just referencing.
Woo!
Coheed and Cambria, Vaxis Act 2, A Window to the Waking Mind. Is that what it's called? A Window of the Waking Mind. There. Yeah.
Same number of letters.
So I've been talking a lot. Tell me about Coheed and Cambria, Zac.
So I know nothing about music. I don't know how it's made. I don't know what a chord is. I just listen to it, especially if this guy tells me to. Coheed and Cambria, A Window of the Waking Mind, is brilliant. I've listened to a lot of their records, and I think it's probably my favorite. I think that the band has evolved a lot. I think that, oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble. What's the lead singer's name?
Claudio
Sanchez. I think that he's growing up and really feeling confident and decided that he's gonna stretch his legs and try different things. I think back to Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth, and like just how like everything was right at you and like pretty controversial there sometimes. The song lyrics, die white.
He's always singing from the point of view of a character in the story.
Yeah. Which I don't know which. While you absolutely know more about music and probably know more about Coheed, I think I know more about the lore.
I think you probably do.
Yeah. This is a concept album, as are, I believe, almost all Coheed except for maybe one.
Except for one.
Yeah. It follows titular characters Coheed and Cambria Kilgannon, who I actually got reversed there. This album is actually well beyond Coheed and Cambria onto the next generation of characters in the story. Fascinating. It's a fascinating story that the man has an imagination a mile long. He's got comic books. He's got a novel. I believe that there's a live action in development or production. We'll see if it turns out. My Blood, I believe, is a title.
That is one.
All right. And then that is a tremendous song.
There's a lot of good songs on
They're
it.
all good.
And like what you were saying about, Claudio branching out, like especially songwriting, a disappearing act is very dense, synth wave kind of thing. The last track, which so a lot of people talk about Coheed, and there's within the metal community, like it's debated whether or not they are progressive metal or more just like a hard rock band. And I understand both, but the last track on this is definitely a progressive metal. I mean, it goes through different genres, and I think if you like progressive metal, it's hard to say that would not be progressive metal. I would also say that Josh Eppard on this album, the drummer, is better on this album than he's played for a long time. And there's so many good songs.
A music streamer now. I don't pay attention when music comes out, and thank you for keeping me off of this without. I have not listened to a whole lot of stuff besides this, except for possibly album number one, I believe.
Right.
Which may have dominated a lot of my time. But I can tell you that I listened to this album this morning.
Oh, nice.
And then I listened to some Andrew WK at lunch.
Nice.
I think that you can listen to a song anytime, in any mood, and it will transform you and take you to another place.
Yeah, if you like Coheed, you probably already have this album. I would say if you don't like Coheed and you've heard them before, this is...
Try it now.
Yeah, I mean...
A bit different.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe not going to change your mind, but if you just like, kind of good rock songs, there's a handful of good 3-minute, straightforward, and kind of poppy, hard rock songs on
and
it.
essentially no screaming.
Yeah, like Shoulders, Liars Club.
Oh, Liars Club is so good.
Yeah, so there's some longer tracks on it as well, and there's a lot of good stuff. I think you would probably find something on here, unless you really can't stand Claudio's vocals, but, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are to my favorite album of the year, and one that I know Zac really likes a lot. This is the second album from Black Country New Road. They are from Cambridgeshire, England. This came out February 4th, 2022 on Ninja Tune Records, produced by Sergio Machetzko. If you don't know Black Country New Road, I would say if you like Bright Eyes, if you like Neutral Milk Hotel, even if you like maybe the Magnetic Field, I think you would like this. It's, I guess, indie rock, but it has a wide variety of instrumentation. It's very emotionally driven. It's very, in some ways, like uncomfortably sort of confessional. It's very straightforward. Not straightforward. It's very emotionally direct.
It's open.
Songwriting, very open, very emotional. So I guess it's pretty emo, is what they say. They say that a lot about a lot of Conor Oberst stuff, and I feel this is like, to me, they're the British Bright Eyes,
Someone with a Bright Eyes tattoo,
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with you.
Yeah. You love this album.
I do. I love it to the point I text my friend,
Yeah.
Oh Darling I, just to see if you recall the Bread song.
Yeah.
Which he did.
The Bread song, one of the songs on here, really fascinating. It's a really well-written song from a lyrically, point of view, but it also takes a lot of interesting risks in its arrangement and the way the song's structured. It kind of is like very slow for the first half of the song, and then kind of has more of a beat and a drive to it towards the second half of the song, but it's beautiful, and it's like instantly memorable, and it's instantly memorable, even though it's like a handful of lines for the chorus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just like one line. You can't sing it; they're gonna.
Yeah, gonna get a copyright strike. Hopefully that siren
But
will.
I do want to say, this album is great the whole way through, but the way it begins.
The intro. And
Yeah.
Chaos Space Marine.
Chaos Space Marine is a great song. Really showcases the band's talent, like the band, not just the singer and the songwriter. It's really creative. They do a lot of interesting things, and you're right. That intro really, I think, sets you up for hearing Chaos Space Marine, which I think you listen to Chaos Space Marine on its own without that intro, some of it can be a little bit jarring, I think.
It's an aperitif to prepare your
Exactly,
palate. Yeah.
indeed, it is. And then
well, here, can I talk about the next one?
Concord, that's so good, right?
Yeah, Concord is the single, I believe, off the record.
Yeah.
It's one that I feel like, as you were talking about earlier, this guy, the band, the singer, is laying it out for you.
Yeah.
Telling a story, and maybe this one's a little bit more pop, more accessible. It's definitely shorter than a lot of the songs on the record, I think. Compared to Basketball Shoes.
Well, yeah, because it's not 13 minutes long.
Alright.
But yeah, Concord's awesome. Yeah, you're right. It's not poppy at all. But you think it is?
My dad liked it. Hey, Dad.
Yeah. But it's I love it so much. It has one of my favorite musical sections of any song this year. Is the bass line. So there's a bass line towards the end of the song, like 3/4 into the song, that goes kind of, it's just a descending bass line in 4, but they're playing it, the whole song is like in 6, and they're playing a 4-note descending bass line, but the 6 is still going. So like it's one of those things that even if you don't know about music, if you're really listening to it, it starts getting you kind of like dizzy. It's dizzying, but still like completely accessible, and I love that kind of stuff where musicians can kind of do somewhat like, I don't know, like somewhat progressive or experimental kind of work within pop music and still make it sound like listenable and approachable, and that, I love that part of that song. So.
Oh yeah. Next up, it's your number one album, I think, Good Will Hunting. I think we should talk about every track on here.
Yeah, I mean, well, so we already talked about Bread Song a little bit, right? And then Good Will Hunting is an awesome song. I think
Bread Song is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
For a song called The Bread Song, it really gets into my heart.
Yeah.
Like, emotions, you're going to feel them.
Yeah. Good Will Hunting was also released as a single. It's a really good song. I would say it's probably the most, like, straightforward, song, and, it references Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
It does get a little, like...
2 references to Billie Eilish on this record, actually.
It does really get kind of abrasive towards the end. The drums get really heavy, and the vocals get really shouty. But I like it,
It's not going to offend your mom.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
Well, and then, so you have Haldern, you have Maxine, you have The Place Where He Inserted the Blade. So
that song.
Yeah, I mean, that song's like another crier, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of this album, I mean, if you don't like sad music, this will not be your album of the year. But even if you don't like sad music, but you used to like sad music, give it a try. And then you have Snow Globe. Snow Globe, to me, is one of my favorite songs on the album, and it's like if, do you know the band Godspeed You Black Emperor?
No, do you?
If you like Godspeed, and if you Godspeed You Black Emperor is a post-rock band, but it's instrumental, so there's no vocals. But like so if you're familiar with Godspeed, listen to this and listen to Snow Globe. I swear it's a Godspeed track. It's so simple at the beginning, and then it just adds layers and layers and layers, and then there's a repeated vocal line that comes in, and then the drums are just insane. Like, they're way too loud in the mix. It's kind of like off-putting, but it's supposed to be that way. And the drummer's just going crazy on the toms, like just kind of ripping, kind of like, it's very like free-form jazz, and I'm making the song sound terrible, but it's not. It works.
It works.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe the feeling that it gives to you, but it like, the lyrics are really awesome too, that repeated line will get stuck into your head. It's awesome. And then, the closing song, Basketball Shoes, is it's a ride. It's a sad boy epic. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
I can tell you that you might start off a little bit bored. It's a nice kind of come down after a snow globe. Uh, like snow globes, it transitions and becomes something else, adds
Yeah,
layers and layers
it does.
as it goes. And I don't know, about halfway through the song, you get to the what you might consider the real song.
Yeah, like I love the whole song's awesome, but like the last 3 minutes of the song are amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
If I was to describe the way this song begins, it's almost like wisps of smoke, like floating around your head, and really, I mean, don't want to overuse the term, but magical. You can lose yourself following this, track and the notes around, and then the last third of the song, man.
yeah, the lyrics get really, I mean, so he talks, about your crippling interest, and it's just like staggering, because like I mean, I don't know, without
Your
reading.
alone.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we don't want to
definitely.
just repeat all the lyrics, but he's a good songwriter, I would
Yeah.
say. Unfortunately, the singer is no longer in the band.
I think you can hear some of that in the record.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they are continuing to make music. They put out an EP, and it's really good. But yeah, I mean, this album is something special. I think it will only grow in cultural estimation. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be, hugely popular, but among critics, I think people already realize that it's something special, and I think it will only. I think people's opinion of it'll be like Neutral Milk Hotel and Aeroplane Over the Sea, or other albums like that people really. I would say Bright Eyes Lifted, and I mean, but to me, it's as good.
The spirit isn't so. Keep your ear to the ground.
Yeah, to me, it is as good as those albums.
Ooh, now okay, all right. Now you've opened the door here. Fair.
There you go.
I would say that. Yeah.
You were
I
gonna,
thought you
he
were
was gonna
worried.
argue.
Yeah, he thought I was gonna argue. I've listened to Lifted 10,000 times.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Great album.
I can't say which one's better.
This has less like songs. You know what I mean? Less like 3 or 4 minute bop. You know what I mean? But it's a fantastic. It's thematically as a whole album. It comes together really well. The production on it is really amazing, especially given the variety of instrumentation and the approach to instrumentation that they use.
It doesn't sound like anything else. Like
I don't think there's not a whole lot of computers went into putting this record together. I mean, the production's just amazing on it.
And I have to say, like, you were talking about, oh no, Bad Friend, band, 4 people playing in a room together.
Big
right?
feat.
Yeah. To me, when I listen to this,
it's like 13 people in a room.
13 people in a room,
Yeah.
but you can almost feel the emotions and the energy that they're getting off one
100%.
another and the interaction, and that is just really remarkable and beautiful in today's primarily
Yeah,
overproduced, music. I'm sure there's an amazing story of that band and how they all got together. I'm sorry that they broke up. I hope that they all.
They're not broken up.
No, they're not. The lead singer left.
They're still putting out music, and the EP that they put out is really enjoyable. So, but if you haven't heard this I think in my opinion, much better than the first record. A lot of people like the first record. The first record is a lot more, I would say, post-punk. Which there's a little bit of that in this, but this is a much better expression of their artistic intent, I would say.
I've recommended this to just about everybody that I know, regardless of age, sex, creed, or credence. Just whatever you like.
And they liked it?
Nah.
Yeah, my wife didn't love it that much.
Yeah.
So.
My dad did.
Well, you should check it out.
You should check it out.
All right, everybody, that was my top 10 albums
What will
of 2022.
bring?
There's going to be a lot of good records. Peter Gabriel is supposed to put out a record in 2023. So.
Oh. We'll see you then.
Anyway, thanks for watching Tweed Up. We'll see you next time.